What's up everyone, my name is Abby, I like to read, and I was not planning on making this video today, but here we are. So today I'm going to be doing a review of Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I initially didn't think I was going to film a review for this because I just don't normally film reviews unless it's a book that just came out or that I was really excited about coming out, like the Outcrate books, but I finished this like an hour ago and I still am like having trouble processing all the things that happen in this book, and so I just want to talk about it and like rant about it. Um, so that's why I'm here right now. So as always, I will start off with a non-spoiler review. This book is about a girl named Spensa, and the humans are on this different planet. It doesn't really explain it that much at first, but it does when you get to the end. But her father is a pilot because there are these things called the Krell that attack the base every once in a while, and so the pilots go and they fight them off. And Spensa adores her father. She wants to be just like him. She wants to be a pilot. But one day there's a big battle and he supposedly deserts his team and he is shot down and he dies and he is labeled a coward. And Spensa and her mother are kind of ridiculed for this. They are looked down upon because they were related to someone labeled a coward. But that has not stopped Spensa's love for flying, and she still wants to be a pilot. And so she ends up going to flight school, and this is her journey through flight school and all of her difficulties and hardships. And it's, oh, I loved this book. I gave this 9 out of 10 stars. This made me feel so many emotions that I haven't felt probably since I read Crescent City. And it was so good. The characters were amazing. I love it when authors are able to have a character that I hate at first, but like slowly throughout the book, they're like, no, you're gonna love this character. And it's like, you're right, I do. Why did I hate them at first? And I really enjoyed this. I definitely recommend that everyone reads this book. I'm so excited to pick up the sequel because I want to see what happens. And I think that is it for the non-spoiler review. So if you haven't read this, then you should leave because I'm about to like go into a deep dive into this book because I have so many notes that I want to talk about. So yeah, go read this book and then we're gonna talk about some spoilers. Okay, first of all, this isn't necessarily a spoiler, but so on this cover, first of all, this cover is gorgeous. I love it. But she has violet eyes, and I don't know if I remember the book describing her with violet eyes. If I'm wrong and she actually does, let me know because that's pretty damn cool. But I don't know if it's just the art they decided to do to match the other purple, but I don't remember it mentioning that she had purple eyes. Okay, I got some notes. We got some things to talk about. First of all, I loved all of the characters. Like, I don't think there's a character that I didn't like. Even, like, Judy. Is her name Judy Ironside or something? She, like, I wanted to hate her. And I think I probably did, like, most of the book because she was so horrible to Spensa. But, like, when you learned why she did what she did and how she actually, like, really cared about Spensa's father and trusted him completely, and then he like turned, so that's why she's so untrusting of Spensa. Like, it makes sense, and it like all of her actions like kind of are at least a little bit justified just because she doesn't want to have other people trust Spensa with their lives just to have Spensa go and turn and kill them. But even Jerkface, I loved Jerkface at the end. Okay, I'm jumping ahead, but I want to just the scene where Spensa finds him going over and over and over through the hologram battle scene where one of their teammates dies and he's like trying to figure out how he could have saved her. That just like tore my heart open because like on the outside, yeah, he's kind of a jerk and he's a rule follower, and if you don't follow the rules he's gonna yell at you and he wants you to be your best, but like he really does like care about his teammates and he wants to do the best that he can to let everyone survive, because like that is a lot of pressure. Like, you're the flight leader and like their lives are like in your hands, and that's just, oh my gosh. Okay, going back. So there's just so much I want to talk about, so I'm just gonna try to order my thoughts. I loved Captain Cobb. He also like tugged at my heartstrings. I was very surprised whenever Spencer found out that he was the one that shot down her father. I was really surprised that she wasn't more angry, because I feel like if I found that out, then I would be like, excuse me? Like, you're the one that killed my dad? But she didn't seem very angry. The scene where, after Hurl died, okay, sorry, I'm so out of order. Hurl's death, I'll get to that. But after that, whenever he was, like, screaming at them and be like, why don't you guys eject? You need to eject if you're going down. Do not save your ship. Eject. That just, like, that also just, like, really got to me, because, like, he is so passionate about his students that he's like, you know, who cares about the rules or what they're gonna view you as after you eject? If they're gonna say you're a coward, you will die if you do not, and I do not want you to die. And that was really powerful to me. That really made me, like, love him so much more. I loved the scene when they were all, like, figuring out their call signs. And I love the fact that Jorgen, is that his name, Jorgen? I love the fact that his call sign is just naturally jerk face, because that's just what ended up happening, and I love that so much. One thing that I noticed was that, so this seemed like, not like military, but like a structured flight school and stuff, but I feel like they talked back to Cobb, and he just kind of took it. Like, he yelled at them sometimes, but like, I feel like in a real world situation, when you're like learning like flight school where you're like going to fight people, I don't think the instructor would let you talk back to them as much as especially Spencer did. Oh my gosh, she was very like, she was a lot at first. Like, her personality is like in your face. The way she talks about like killing her enemies is like very like, it takes you back. It's definitely like abrasive. But I feel like that was kind of like a cool personality. Like, I don't know, it was kind of interesting. But she was definitely very challenging of authority, and I think that Cobb maybe should have disciplined her a little bit more. Rig, poor Rig, he just wasn't cut out for it. And I didn't like how he like blamed Spencer and was like, I'm only here because of you. It's like, she didn't make you come. Just because she's passionate about it doesn't mean that you have to be as well. But I do like that he was able to find what he did love, and it kind of tied into the story, and he was able to use that to help Spencer and build the ship. Also, Mbot. What did we ever figure out what Mbot was? Because at one time we thought that he was a Krell, which I'm still not really sure what the Krell are. That was a little confusing. I'll talk a little bit about that more later, like when I get to the end of the book. But I loved the banter between them. I thought Mbot was so funny. Also, Doom Slug. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? She has like a little slug with her. So cute. But I really loved watching Mbot kind of like become more and more like human-like, like with the way he talked. I thought that was really cool. I have a note in here. It says, oh, there might be a little romance budding between Bim and Spencer. That didn't last very long. That was really sad. One thing I also noticed in this book, that I feel like they mentioned the gravicaps every 2 pages. Like when they're in the ship and like, oh, the gravicaps are like they're kicking on, and so then I won't feel the G-force. It's like, I don't understand why it was necessary to mention that every single time they're flying. Like, I get it, like, G-force is a thing, like, I understand. Okay, so the whole defect thing. So this was also a little bit confusing to me, so I'm gonna try to like work it out in my head. So in her family, her descendants, they used to fly the ship because they had a defect that allowed them to hear the stars, but I don't really understand how that makes them able to fly a ship. I'm hoping we learn more about that in the next book, because it also never really explained how Spencer was able to teleport whenever the bomb was going off. Like, how does hearing the stars, I don't know, some sort of power that they have, but it also makes them susceptible to the Krell's influence, because there's like apparently like a hole in there, and then they can get in and make you see things or something. And that's what happened to her father. He didn't actually try to retreat. He went up because he heard the stars, and I guess that's how the Krell communicate. I don't really know. That wasn't really clear to me, but they were somehow able to put projections in his mind where he thought that his friends were the Krell, and so he was trying to kill them, which was so heartbreaking. When I read the scene of it, that when she's watching back the footage of the battle, and Cobb is like, please don't do this, please don't do this, and then he has to shoot him down, and oh my gosh, it's so sad. And then Hurl's death was, oh my gosh, like the fact that they're telling them so much that you should not eject, you should need to go down with your ship, or you're a coward and we'll like remember you as a coward, like that's so horrible. And then it literally cost Hurl her life. She could have ejected, but she's like, no, I don't want to be a coward, I'm a badass, I can do this. And then she's dead. I'm sorry I'm skipping around so much, but like my brain is so scrambled and I'm just trying to like make sense of it myself. There's so much happening in this book. So back to Jerkface. I really enjoyed Spencer and Jorgen's one-on-one conversations. I think there's a little something there that we could explore in the next book. Maybe. He seemed to like be very attentive of her in the last battle, and he like wanted to save her a lot. But he just, I don't know, I just love it when characters are two-sided, where on the surface they seem like a jerk and that they, you know, they don't really care about people, but like deep down like they really do, and he really just wants his team to succeed. Yeah, he ended up melting my heart, and he's a sweetheart. The end of this book just sucked me in so much. I actually forgot about Mbot for a long time because he like turned himself off, and I was like, wait a minute, I was getting to the end and I was like, is Mbot gonna come back? Because at first I thought that whenever she was going to go get on the ship and actually help them after she was dismissed because she ejected, I thought she was gonna go find Mbot and use him to destroy everything, but she didn't. She went to the, I think it was Arturo's ship that was damaged, and she took that, and first when like it said she was gonna like intercept the bomb, and then it's like, oh, she missed and she's going to the ground. I was like, is she really gonna like miss this and just die? Like that's a really lame ending. But then she survives because she doesn't eject, which at first I was like, girl, you better eject, I'm not even kidding. But she doesn't eject. She's able to actually save it and crash land and skid across the surface. And then Cobb, he shows up with Imba, and I'm like, how did you find out about this ship? But apparently he had the radio that he gave Spencer, and Imba was like, I hear you, Spencer, I'm gonna save you. And oh, that was great. I loved that. And he was flying. He hadn't flown since he had to shoot down Spencer's father, but he like worked up the courage in order to save her, and that was just so amazing. I love Cobb, if you couldn't tell already. And so then she and Mbot like go and start fighting people, and then the bomb. I really had trouble picturing what this big bomb ship looked like, but she's able to somehow take it. I don't know how. I think I was just so excited that I was like missing some of the details, but somehow she takes the bomb away from the Alta base and it's gonna explode. And Mbot's like, wait a minute, we saved everyone, but we about to die. And then she suddenly like teleports? I don't know how, but she does. Hopefully we learn how she did it in the next book, because I want to know. So she teleports and it explodes, but she's somewhere else and she saves the day. But then but then, because we already know at this point that she's hearing the stars, and that is what made her father go up into that hole and get mind controlled. So now she's like, I need to go into the stars. And I'm like, please don't do that, because they're gonna turn you and you're gonna kill your people. Although I wasn't as concerned because she doesn't have any weapons on the ship, but still, I don't want you to get shot down and you about to go where your father went. I was not okay with that plan. But she went, of course, she's Spencer. And somehow, I guess Mbot was able to, like, shield the communications away or something, and so then she wasn't completely mind controlled when she, like, started screaming, and she's able to hear them communicate. I still don't understand that part about how they communicate. Somehow it's with the stars, because she can hear the stars, so I don't really know. It was a little confusing. And then Mbot does something where he's able to, like, gather information. One thing I didn't like about this book, I think one of the only things that I did not like, was how the ending was explained. Because in the epilogue, like, at the end of the book, Mbot is like, I have all the answers. And then the epilogue is basically her just explaining this giant history of what happened to everyone. Like, and I wish it would have had more showing of that history than just Spencer, like, regurgitating it to Judy and Cobb and all the important people. But basically, the humans were fighting, and then some humans went off and were like, we're not a part of that. But then some other alien force was like, we don't want you to get away, so we're gonna send the Krell after you. And then Spencer's grandmother or great grandmother or something was like, we gotta get away. And so she somehow, I guess, teleported them to this planet, and now the Krell are, like, guarding them. So they're basically in, like, prison. And they're guarding them, and they're just making sure they attack them every once in a while so that they don't get the technology to escape. So all of that was just, like, one paragraph of information just telling us all of that, which I think was not enough to, like, really grasp what was happening. I wanted it explained more, but maybe in the next book it will explain more of that in detail. But this book really just took me on a journey, and I loved every second of it. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Once again, I gave this 9 out of 10 stars. I really want the second book, like, real bad. But I think those are most of my thoughts. I hope I got through all of, like, the stuff that I wanted to go through. If you've read this book, let's discuss it down below. What did you think? What did you like? What did you not like? I still am just, like, I would say I'm speechless, but I just talked a lot, so I don't think I'm speechless. But I'm emotional. This book gave me emotions, and I don't know how I feel about that. But if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. I'm sorry that I'm, like, skipping around so much, but my brain is jambled. Jambled? Is that a word? Jambled?